Welcome back to the deep dive. We are so glad you're here with us today because we are doing something that I frankly love doing. We are taking a cultural monolith, something you think you know inside and out, and we're completely deconstructing it. We're going back to the source code.
It really is a bit of an archaeological dig today, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're stripping away, decades of cinema and television and all these pop culture references to try and find the kernel of truth underneath.
Exactly. So I want to start with a little visualization exercise for you listening right now. When I say the name Sherlock Holmes, what pops into your head?
Oh, yeah.
Be honest. You are probably seeing the silhouette, right? The deerstalker hat,
The hat, for sure.
the calabash pipe, that curved stem, maybe a magnifying glass.
And you're likely picturing a man who's, middle-aged. He's aloof. He's imperious, completely in command of his faculties.
Right.
He's in a tweed suit, standing on a foggy London street, probably insulting a police officer with a vocabulary that would make a dictionary blush.
Yeah. Right. That is the standard model Sherlock. Now, I want you to take that image and just delete it. Drag it to the trash bin in your mind. Because today, we are talking about a 14-year-old boy.
A kid.
He doesn't have a pipe. He doesn't have a hat. He definitely does not have the confidence.
He has jam sandwiches.
He has terrible jam sandwiches. He is bored out of his skull.
Lord.
He is stuck in the countryside dealing with some pretty serious family drama, hating his school, and he has absolutely no idea that he is destined to become the world's greatest consulting detective.
We are looking at Young Sherlock Holmes, Red Leech by Andrew Lane. And what I find so compelling about this source material is that it isn't just a prequel.
No.
It's not just Sherlock Holmes' high school mysteries or something like that. It is an origin story of a methodology.
Yes.
We are watching a raw, unrefined, slightly arrogant teenage mind learn how to think.
That is the key. We aren't just retelling a story here. We are analyzing the education of a genius. And the curriculum is, well, it's wild. We've got conspiracy theories involving the American Civil War.
Right.
We have biological horror with giant leeches in the jungles of Borneo.
And, my favorite part, a rugged American tutor teaching logic by staring at an anthill.
I love that part.
It's such a unique blend of genres. It's part coming-of-age adventure, part historical thriller, and, part creature feature.
Definitely.
But the mission of this deep dive is to show how these disparate elements, the history, the biology, the logic, how they all collide to shape the character we all think we know.
The vibe is very specific. It starts with this heavy, humid summer boredom, but there is this undercurrent of darkness that just, it creeps in. So let's jump right into the first major influence on young Sherlock's life.
Okay.
We have to talk about the mentor.
Amyus Crowe.
Amyus Crowe. Now, if you are a fan of the traditional Doyle stories, you might be scratching your head.
Right. Who is that?
Who is Amyus Crowe? But in this narrative, he is the pivotal figure. He's the one who teaches Sherlock not just what to see, but how to see.
And he is such a stark contrast to the setting. I mean, we're in Surrey, England in the 1860s.
Right. Very proper.
It's stiff, it's formal, it's British. And then you have Crowe. He's an American. He is described as this large man wearing a white linen suit and a broad-brimmed hat. He has a weather-beaten face.
He sounds like he walked right out of a Western movie and took a wrong turn at Albuquerque, ending up in a British garden.
Essentially, yes. And his personality reflects that frontier spirit. He uses the world around him as his classroom. He isn't interested in textbooks. He's a paradox, too. He has this bubbling good nature. He's loud. He sort of takes up space. But then the text mentions these moments of flat sadness.
Yeah, I noticed it.
When he talks about home. He misses the food. He misses the landscape. He is in exile, in a way.
And he is filling a massive void in Sherlock's life. We learn early on that Sherlock's father is a remote figure currently deployed to India with his regiment. So Sherlock is effectively fatherless in this house.
Oh, sure.
And Crowe steps in not just as a tutor, but as a surrogate father figure. But he doesn't coddle Sherlock.
Not at all. He challenges him. And this brings us to one of the most fascinating segments in the book, which I think is really the cornerstone of the Holmesian method.
Okay.
We have to talk about the list of the ants.
I loved this scene. It is so relatable. Picture this. It's a hot day. Sherlock is sitting in the grass. He is annoyed.
Just stewing.
Yeah, there's a bee buzzing around him. He is bored. And Crowe is making him watch an anthill. Sherlock is looking at it and thinking, this is pointless. They're just running around.
Right. Sherlock sees chaos. He sees noise. To him, the movement of the ants is random and, frankly, stupid.
Yeah.
But Crowe sees a lecture on probability, and search algorithms. He introduces Sherlock and us to the concept of the drunkard's walk.
I love that name. It seems like a dance craze or something, but it actually math. Can we unpack that? What is the drunkard's walk?
So imagine a drug person leaving a bar. They stumble a step forward, then maybe a step left, then back, then right. It looks completely random. In mathematics, a random walk is a path that consists of a succession of random steps. Crowe explains to Sherlock that if you are searching for something unknown, in this case the ants are searching for food, and you don't know where it is, moving in a rigid straight line is actually inefficient.
Because if you move in a straight line, you only cover that one specific strip of ground. If the food is 3 feet to your left, you miss it entirely.
Precisely. A random path, a chaotic path, covers more surface area in an undefined territory. It covers ground faster, which is counterintuitive.
It is, yeah.
So the ants aren't being stupid. They are running a highly efficient algorithm.
And then Crowe takes it a step further. He does an experiment. He pulls a jar of honey out of his pocket, which, by the way, I love that detail. A man never knows what might come in useful, he says.
It's so perfect for his character.
Such a survivalist thing to say.
It speaks to his preparedness. So he drops the honey on the ground. Now watch what happens. The first ant finds the honey, essentially by accident, by the drunkard's walk.
Stumbles upon it.
It stumbles upon it, it grabs some food, and heads back to the nest. But on the way back, it does something crucial.
It lays down a trail.
Pheromones. Crowe calls it a chemical smell, to keep it understandable for a Victorian teenager.
Right.
But he's describing chemical signaling. The next ant stumbles across that trail. It follows it to the honey. And then what does it do? It reinforces the trail on the way back.
And suddenly the chaos stops.
Exactly. As more ants find the trail, the path straightens out. The random wandering disappears, and you get a straight, efficient line of traffic going back and forth.
So Sherlock is watching this transition from random to ordered in real time.
He is. And the takeaway here is huge. Crowe is teaching him about swarm intelligence. He tells Sherlock that sometimes a group is smarter than an individual. The swarm solves the problem of finding food more efficiently than one ant ever could.
But, and this is big, but Crowe also warns him about the flip side.
The dark side of it.
Yeah. He says, put them into a mob and a riot can start. He is teaching Sherlock that while natural systems have logic, human collectives can be dangerous.
He's teaching Sherlock to be an observer of systems, to stand apart from the mob and look for the underlying logic. It's all about perspective.
It's the difference between seeing and observing which becomes his whole thing.
It's his entire brand.
Sherlock looked at the anthill and saw bugs. Crowe observed the anthill and saw a lesson in logic, probability, and sociology.
And notice how this contrasts with Sherlock's formal education. He attends a place called Deep Dean School. He hates it. They teach him Latin and Greek.
By rote memorization.
Right. Crowe is teaching him that the world is the text. You don't learn by reading a dusty book. You learn by watching the dirt.
Which is the most Sherlock Holmes trait imaginable. I mean, the ability to read the mud on a shoe or the ash from a cigar, it all starts right here with ants.
It's the absolute foundation. He is learning that what looks like randomness usually has a pattern if you're just patient enough to see it emerge.
So while Sherlock is getting this, mind-expanding education in the garden, we have to look at his domestic life.
Yeah.
Because Holmes Manor is not a happy place.
No. The source material paints this picture of a house that is essentially asleep or maybe slowly dying. It's a hot summer, the curtains are always drawn, the house is dark.
And the food.
Oh, the food.
Honestly, the descriptions of the food tell you everything you need to know about how Sherlock is being treated.
It's nursery food.
Nursery food, exactly. Jam sandwiches with the crusts cut off, vegetables boiled until they are unrecognizable mush.
Crowe complains about it constantly, saying the British ruin good food. But for Sherlock, it's deeper, isn't it? It represents a state of arrested development. He is a teenager on the verge of manhood, but the house treats him like a toddler.
And the person enforcing this regime is Mrs. Eglantine.
Mrs. Eglantine. She is the housekeeper, but she feels more like a warden.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
The book describes her as fading into shadows. She has a needle-like gaze. She doesn't just work there, she sort of haunts the place.
There is this great moment where Crowe tries to use his southern charm on her. He's trying to be polite, maybe a little flirtatious to smooth things over, and she just shuts him down. Cold.
Yeah, it's brutal. I'm sure that many women succumb to your colonial charms, Mr. Crowe. I am not one of those women.
Ouch.
Just ice. She establishes herself as an adversary. She is watching them.
And then you have the uncle, Sherlock Holmes. We don't see much of him, but what we do see is, well, it's lackluster. He's religious, he has a biblical beard, he's focused on writing sermons. He is completely checked out of Sherlock's life.
So Sherlock is totally isolated. His father's in India, his mother is sick and sleeping all day, his uncle is disengaged, the housekeeper is hostile. The only bright spot is Crowe.
Right, until the carriage pulls up.
And to the legend, Mycroft Holmes.
And his arrival is a seismic shift in the story.
It really is. Up until now, it's been this slow burn domestic drama.
Right.
When Mycroft steps out of that carriage, the wider world crashes in.
And he works for the government. He claims to be a file clerk, but even 14-year-old Sherlock knows that's a lie.
He's not buying it for a second.
The dynamic between the brothers is fascinating to me. In the movies, they are often portrayed as rivals or, frenemies.
Yeah, intellectual equals sparring.
Here, Mycroft is just authoritative. He is the head of the family in his father's absence.
He cares, though. You can tell. He ruffles Sherlock's hair. But he is also incredibly dismissive. He treats Sherlock like a child who needs to be managed. He sends him away so the adults can talk business.
But he drops some bombshells first. He tells Sherlock that his education at Deepdene is over. He is pulling him out of school.
Which is a huge turning point. Sherlock hates the school, but being pulled out means he is now trapped at the manor full-time. Mycroft decides that Crowe will tutor him exclusively. This isolates Sherlock even further from his peers, but it accelerates his real training.
But Sherlock, being Sherlock, doesn't just go to his room. Mycroft tells him to go ramble. And I love Mycroft's definition of rambling.
You're good.
He basically says, go do anything that isn't under a roof.
Mycroft hates nature. He hates the outdoors. He needs floorboards under his feet. So he assumes Sherlock will just go play in the woods.
But Sherlock decides to eavesdrop. And this scene is another masterclass in the development of his skills. He doesn't just hide behind a sofa. He uses physics.
The acoustic shadow. This was such a cool detail.
So cool. Explain this to us because it shows how his mind is already working.
So Sherlock wants to listen to the conversation in the library. The French windows are open. He knows that if he stands in front of the window, he will cast a visual shadow into the room, and Mycroft will see it instantly.
Right. Basic geometry. He's not going to make that mistake.
But there's a breeze blowing into the room, a slight draft. Sherlock realizes that if he stands in the opening, he will block the breeze. He will occlude it.
Okay.
He's banking on the idea that the men inside, engrossed in their secret talk, won't notice the air going still as quickly as they would notice a dark shape appearing on the floor.
It's a sensory gamble. He is betting on their skin being less observant than their eyes.
And he almost gets away with it. He listens for a good while. But eventually, Mycroft notices. And the way Mycroft catches him is so perfect.
He doesn't yell.
No, he simply says, "You occluded the breeze."
Oh, I love that. He isn't mad about the spying. He is critical of the technique. It's like a peer review.
Exactly. He says, if you had let your shadow cast, that would have been a regrettable lack of knowledge of simple geometry. He is scolding him for being a bad scientist, not a bad boy.
Which tells you everything about how the Holmes family operates. Intellect comes first.
Always.
But what Sherlock hears before he gets caught, that is the real hook. This is where we live the boy and his tutor story and enter a full-blown historical conspiracy thriller.
This deep dive really surprised me with how heavily it leans into real history. I mean, real verifiable history. We find out that Amyus Crowe isn't just a tutor. He is a former agent.
He worked for the Union during the American Civil War.
Specifically, he worked for the Pinkerton National Detective Agency.
The Pinkertons, that adds such a layer of grit to his character. He's not an academic, he's a tracker, he's a bounty hunter, essentially.
And he drops this incredible backstory. He tells Mycroft that he was with Alan Pinkerton in Baltimore, protecting Abraham Lincoln before his inauguration.
Wow.
He's been in the thick of the most dangerous political landscape of the century.
But the twist is about Lincoln's assassination. We all know the history book version. John Wilkes Booth shoots Lincoln in Ford's Theater, jumps on stage, breaks his leg, yells, "Sic semper tyrannis!"
Right, the whole dramatic sequence.
Runs away, and is eventually cornered in a barn in Virginia and killed by Union soldiers. End of story.
That is the official narrative. But Mycroft and Crowe are discussing an intelligence dossier that suggests otherwise. They're discussing the theory that Booth survived.
That the man in the barn was a look-alike, a patsy.
Exactly. The theory is that the body in the barn wasn't Booth. The theory is that Booth escaped. And where would a Confederate assassin flee if he wanted to be safe?
England.
England. It's civilized, they speak the language, and there was a lot of Confederate sympathy among the British aristocracy during the war.
Right.
But the book doesn't just leave it at, maybe he came here. Mycroft links it to a specific historical event involving a ship called the CSS Shenandoah.
This is a real ship, right?
It is a real ship. The Shenandoah was a Confederate raider, basically a pirate ship sanctioned by the South. It went around the world destroying Union whaling fleets. Here's the wild part.
Okay.
The Shenandoah didn't surrender until November 1865. That is months after the war officially ended. And where did it surrender? Liverpool, England.
So the timeline fits perfectly. You have a Confederate ship arriving in England months after the assassination. Booth could easily have been on board.
It gives a plausible mechanism for his escape. And now, the Pinkertons, Crowe included, believe that this fugitive, living under the alias John St. Helen, is back in England.
And they have a lead.
A strong one. They believe he is in a house in Godalming, which is just a short ride from Holmes Manor.
And the clue that clinches it for them is the name of the house.
The house is named Shenandoah.
I have to pause here. If you are the most wanted man in the world, having assassinated a president, and you are trying to live in secret, maybe don't name your house after the ship that helped you escape.
It's not exactly subtle tradecraft, is it?
It feels a little on the nose.
It does. Mycroft calls it indicative. It speaks to a certain arrogance or perhaps a desire to signal to other sympathizers. But for Crowe, it's the smoking gun. It's too much of a coincidence. He needs to investigate.
And this is where Sherlock tries to step up. He bursts in, having just been caught eavesdropping, and basically says, "Put me in, coach. I can help. I can go ask questions."
And he is immediately, and I mean immediately, shut down. Absolutely not, says Crowe. Under no circumstances, says Mycroft.
They treat him like a child because legally and practically he is.
Well, he is. But they're also protecting him. They're talking about a man who possibly killed Abraham Lincoln. This isn't a game. This is a cold-blooded killer.
But we know Sherlock telling him no is basically a dare.
It's a guarantee.
It's the catalyst. If they had just invited him along, he probably would have stayed in the background. But by excluding him, they guarantee he is going to investigate on his own.
It creates that friction. He wants to prove them wrong. He wants to prove he is an adult.
Now, before we follow Sherlock on his rogue mission to Godalming, we have to talk about the prologue.
Yes.
Because we've been talking about ants and history and stiff British families. But the book actually opens with something completely different. It opens with horror.
The prologue is crucial for setting the stakes.
Right.
If the main story is sort of the Hardy Boys or Enola Holmes, the prologue is Heart of Darkness.
That's a great comparison.
It transports us thousands of miles away to Borneo.
The atmosphere is just oppressive.
It is visceral. The text describes it as a Turkish bath. It talks about crows rotting off bodies, boots filling with sweat and water. The jungle is trying to consume these men.
We follow two characters, James Hilliger and Will Gimson. They are on a mission to collect exotic animals for a client, a mysterious client, and they find the title character of the book.
The Red Leech.
This thing is nightmare fuel. For our listeners who might be eating lunch, I apologize, but we have to describe it.
We do. It is bright red. It's the size of a human hand. It has suckers at both ends and 3 teeth.
And it shapeshifts.
Yes, that's the detail that really gets me. When Gimson picks it up, it shifts from a flat circular shape to a thick muscular worm. It's just grotesque.
And it's hungry.
It needs blood. They have to keep it alive for the journey back to England to this client they only call Duke.
Right.
And because they're out of supplies, Gimson tells Hilliger, roll up your sleeve.
That line gives me chills. Roll up your sleeve. It establishes that this Duke character, whoever he is a monster. He is a man who hears leeches calling out to him.
It's so creepy.
He is sending men to die in the jungle to bring him these biological horrors.
It sets up a villain who is obsessive, cruel, and interested in biological monstrosities. It creates this looming threat. While Sherlock is dealing with ants and jam sandwiches in Surrey, this biological terror is making its way toward him.
It suggests that the villainy in this book isn't just political, it's organic, it's medical.
For sure.
So, keeping that horror in the back of our minds, let's go back to sunny Surrey. Sherlock has been told to stay put.
And, naturally,
he ignores this completely. He decides to investigate the Shenandoah house himself. But he knows he needs help.
He recruits Matty Arnott. Matty is a great character. He is a canal boat boy.
Yeah.
He lives on a narrowboat. He works for a living. He survives on his wits. He is the complete opposite of Sherlock.
Totally. Sherlock is book smart, privileged, and a bit stuck up. Maddie is street smart, poor, and practical.
I love their dynamic. Sherlock shows up with 2 horses that he stole from a neighbor.
Right.
And Maddie just looks at him and tells him to shove off. He doesn't take Sherlock seriously at all.
It's a grounding friendship. Maddie cuts through Sherlock's pretension, but he is also up for an adventure, so he agrees to go.
So they ride to Godalming. The description of the ride is beautiful. The Hogsback Ridge, the rolling English countryside.
It creates this false sense of security.
Totally. It feels like a boy's adventure story.
Until they find the house. And here we see Sherlock trying to apply Crowe's lessons. He sees the house. It has wisteria vines growing on it. He sees a nameplate on the gate, but he can't read it from the road.
So he needs a reason to get close.
He needs to get close without looking like he's spying. He needs a cover story.
Exactly. If he just walks up and stares at the sign, he's suspicious. So he comes up with the flat ball ruse.
This is so simple, but so clever.
It is. He sends Maddie to borrow a ball from some local kids. The ball is deflated, but that doesn't matter. They stage a game of catch moving down the road.
It's the drunkard's walk again, isn't it?
In a way, yes. Their movement looks casual, seemingly random, just 2 boys playing.
But there is a hidden purpose.
A very clear purpose. They work their way closer and closer to the gate.
And then, oops, Maddie throws the ball into the garden right by the front door.
It gives Sherlock a legitimate social license to enter the property. He isn't a spy. He's just a kid getting his ball back.
Right.
He runs up the path, grabs the ball, and while he's there, he glances at the sign. Shenandoah.
Confirmation. The conspiracy is real. The house named after the Confederate escape ship is right there. Crowe was right.
Now, at this point, a sensible person, a professional, would walk away.
Absolutely. Mission accomplished.
He has the intel. He should get on his horse, ride back to Crowe, and say, "You were right. It's the house. Go get him."
But Sherlock is young. He is 14. He lingers.
He does.
He stands there on the porch debating whether to try and peek inside. He wants to know more, and that hesitation costs him everything.
The door opens, and suddenly the genre shifts right back to horror.
The man who steps out. Let's describe him. Because this isn't just a guy in a suit. This is a ruin of a human being.
The source text describes the left side of his face as ruined. It calls it a cratered moon. The skin is red, lumpy, and destroyed by fire.
And his eye.
The eye is just a dark hole. The beard on that side is like the charred remains of a forest fire. It's a terrifying image.
It connects immediately to the war, doesn't it? Whether this is Booth or not, this is a man who was burned.
Absolutely. He carries the history on his face, and the violence is sudden. He doesn't ask Sherlock what he's doing. He doesn't yell, "Get off my lawn."
No warning.
He grabs Sherlock by the hair.
He literally drags him inside. Sherlock is just a kid holding a flat ball, and suddenly he's being hauled into a dark hallway by a monster.
Inside the house, the atmosphere is all wrong. Sherlock, even while being terrified, is observing. He notices the antimacassars on the chairs.
Those are the little cloth covers to protect chairs from hair oil, right?
Yes. A very proper domestic detail, but it clashes with the rest of the room. The room is half furnished. It feels temporary.
Yeah.
Sherlock thinks a house, not a home. It's a hideout.
And oh yeah, there is a body on the floor.
A man with mutton chop whiskers.
Yeah.
Unconscious. Sherlock realizes this was probably the keeper of the house.
So the scarred man has already taken someone out.
He has overpowered him. This establishes that the villain is volatile. He turns on his own protectors.
The interrogation scene is terrifying because the man is clearly insane. He thinks Sherlock is a spy. He calls him a little horse on whelp. But it's the hallucinations that really sell it.
He keeps saying, "I can smell smoke."
But there is no smoke.
No, it's phantom smoke. He is reliving the trauma of his burns. He is paranoid. He thinks a ship is waiting to take him to China. He believes everyone is in on the conspiracy against him.
We need to get away, back to the Orient. He is frantic. He's pulling out a gun, a silvery revolver with a long barrel. Sherlock is staring down the barrel of a gun held by a madman.
But even then, he spots a clue.
Of course he does.
The black Gladstone bag. It's sitting open.
What's inside?
Vials of colorless fluid, scalpels, and most importantly, hypodermic syringes.
And this triggers a memory for Sherlock.
It does. And this is such a poignant moment. He remembers the doctors treating his sick sister. He remembers being fascinated by the syringes. He calls them grotesque functionality.
And he remembers that they stopped the screams.
That is heavy foreshadowing. We know the adult Sherlock Holmes struggles with addiction. He uses cocaine and morphine when he's bored.
Right.
This moment creates a link between syringes and relief, or stopping the pain right here in his childhood trauma.
It grounds his future vices in this early experience. It's tragic, but in the immediate moment, it tells Sherlock something about the villain. This man isn't just a soldier. He is an addict or a patient. He is dependent on chemistry. The bag is his lifeline.
Absolutely.
So the tension is at a breaking point. Sherlock tries to talk his way out. He says, "You go on ahead, I'll follow." He tries to sound confident.
But the man is too far gone. He decides to leave no trace. He raises the gun.
And then chaos explodes. The man fires. Sherlock dives.
The detail here is cinematic. The bullet hits the antimacassar where Sherlock's head was a split second ago. The chair explodes in a cloud of horsehair stuffing.
Wow.
Sherlock flips the table for cover. The maniac keeps firing. He shoots the stuffed elk head on the wall.
Poor elk, shot twice. Once by a hunter, once by a maniac.
It adds this touch of absurdity to the terror. Sherlock realizes he can't make it to the front door. The man is blocking it. He has to go upstairs.
This is the climax of the action. He sprints up the stairs. The man is reloading. Sherlock reaches the landing. There are 2 doors, left or right.
He has no idea.
He has no idea which one leads to safety.
And here, the ant lesson saves his life.
How so?
He doesn't freeze. He doesn't overanalyze. He realizes he has 0 data. So he embraces the drunkard's walk. He makes a random choice.
He just picks one.
He picks the right door.
Yeah.
He acts decisively in the face of chaos.
He dives into a bedroom, unmade bed, another medical bag. But he's cornered. The man is coming up the stairs. The window is the only way out.
He forces the sash window open. He climbs out onto the wisteria vines.
Now, I'm a gardener. Wisteria is strong, but is it support a terrified teenager strong?
Barely. The description of the climb is agonizing. Dust in his eyes. The vines pulling loose from the brickwork with a sickening crunch.
Oh, man.
He's hanging there, feet dangling, trying to find a foothold, and then the man appears at the window.
This moment is straight out of a thriller. The man looks down. He is scanning the ground, assuming Sherlock fell or jumped.
Right.
Sherlock is clinging to the wall above him or just to the side, pressing himself against the bricks, trying not to breathe.
But then, the man looks up.
Nightmare fuel. Absolute nightmare fuel.
He screams and fires again. Sherlock has to scramble onto a narrow roof ledge, and that is where our source material leaves us hanging.
Wow.
Sherlock is trapped on a roof, a madman with a gun is in the window, and there is a lethal drop below.
Talk about a cliffhanger. It leaves you desperate to know what happens next. But let's pull back for a minute. We have unpacked the plot, but what are the key takeaways from this deep dive? What is the so what of this story?
I think there are 3 main threads woven together here that really redefine who Sherlock Holmes is. First, the education. We are seeing the transition from a boy who learns from books to a man who learns from nature and observation. The ant listens swarm intelligence, the drunkard's walk, is the foundation of his deductive method. He is learning that chaos has a pattern.
It explains why the adult Holmes is so good at connecting unrelated dots. He isn't looking for a linear path. He's looking for the swarm pattern. Exactly. The second thread is the history. By connecting Sherlock to the assassination of Lincoln and the aftermath of the Civil War, the author grounds the story in a gritty reality.
Right.
It's not just a cozy mystery in a drawing room. It's about political violence, international conspiracies, and the trauma of war. The scarred man, whether he is Booth or not, carries the physical marks of history on his face.
It raises the stakes so much higher. Sherlock isn't just catching a jewel thief, he is stumbling into global politics. And the third thread.
The biological horror. The red leech in the prologue, the syringes in the bag, the duke who collects monsters.
Yeah.
It suggests that the threats Sherlock faces aren't just criminal, they are organic, they are medical. It connects to the red leech title. We have the literal leech in Borneo, but maybe the leech is also a metaphor, an addiction, a past that drains you.
That's a great point. And looking at Sherlock's character arc just in these few chapters, he starts as a bored kid complaining about sandwiches and ends up fighting for his life on a roof. He is forced to grow up. He tries to be the hero, ignores advice, and immediately gets punished for it.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
He is dragged by his hair and shot at. This isn't a power fantasy, it's a survival story. He survives not because he is a genius yet, but because he is lucky and quick. The genius will come from processing this trauma.
So here is the final thought for you, for our listeners. We have this man in the house, Shenandoah. He has a ruined face, likely from fire. He is paranoid. He has a bag full of syringes. And we have a prologue about a giant leech that needs blood.
The question is, how do these connect?
Exactly. Is the man John Wilkes Booth? And if he is, what is in the syringes? Is it medicine for his villains, or is it something to do with the leeches?
Why would a political assassin be involved with a biological collector named Duke?
It suggests that the conspiracy isn't just political, it is scientific, and that is a terrifying combination.
For sure. And it forces Sherlock to become a scientist detective to solve it.
It really is. So next time you see an anthill, don't just walk past. Stop and watch. You might just learn the algorithm that saves your life.
Or at least find a more efficient path to the refrigerator.
Always the pragmatist. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Watch out for the wisteria, and we will see you next time.